All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Link Click, Season 2, Episode 2. Well, Lu Guang's alive.
He's alive.
But somebody else isn't.
No.
Like,
Jen's
due to
dead.
recent events.
And we are in a fight right now. This is a back and forth. Things are being...
Escalated?
Escalated is a great way to describe it. Yes.
Yeah. And they may have also gotten some, info that now you need to know how they got that info or whatever and how much they know. And this just keeps getting more complicated.
Right. And we are continually stacking potential reasons to go back in a way that could be to prevent deaths, which I'm still waiting for them to actually showcase that that's actually fully confirmed to be possible here.
This is very much going to be that thing where it's add them to the docket. All right, and they just get this expanding list of all right, once we deal with this guy, now we go through and, set everything right.
But, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Oh, right, of course, this is the son's apartment.
Oh, right. That makes a lot more sense.
Or, wait, no.
Or maybe not.
No, it is, yeah.
是前队啊。
哟，你这肚子那么大个的呀？
哦。
都8个多月了，是挺明显的。
那不能太累啊，赶紧进屋坐着吧。
对，快进来坐。
Whoa, did you see that?
What?
He touched her and said, hurry, come in and sit down. And she said, yes, sit down.
Yeah, that could just be like a, different, socioeconomic positions kind of a thing.
Oh, I don't know.
But yeah, now that we know that there's powers and potentially different powers and all that stuff.
I think I'm overthinking it. Yeah, I just...
Right.
Shit.
时间过得可真快。
Okay.
身边那时刚出警校
Teddy bear?
现在一晃都
Yeah.
快当爸爸了。
可不是嘛，当年刚毕业，冒冒失失的，还多亏前队你照顾。
So
他到现在心里啊，
he's
可以只
another
把你当他
cop.
大哥。
Yeah, the fact that he's called Captain, that's...
Yeah.
可他这大哥不太称职啊，没能和他一起扛到底。
这有啥？
Gotcha.
我听说你后来转业当了律师，那可比当警察风光多了。
他现在是不是跟着肖丽？他手上的案子可向来都是特别复杂的。
Nice.
And then here's the call. Yep.
哎，陈老师。
Nice. Aligning us with the timing of things.
Yeah.
你今天几点回来啊？你女儿这几天闹腾的可厉害了。
Right. I don't have a daughter yet. Yeah. I got you.
Right.
That's nice. That's something that Cheng Jiaoxi heard when that call happened. That's a confirmation of who's where and when, you know?
Okay.
这么重搬来搬去，那多不好意思呀！你放那儿让陈斌回来吧。
No.
你坐。
And that's the excuse to
Yeah.
maybe poke
so
around a
we can go
bit.
and, yeah, exactly.
今天怎么感觉浑身怪怪的？是不是陈斌又背着我偷偷给他女儿买东西了？
老板，刚你的戏演得太逼真了，那真以为你想找那个叫陈扁的把我给替了呢。
下次再给我听到你大声大哥，
Oh my
我就
god.
把你的喉咙割开。
Oh.
东西拿到了吗？
刚趁着搬苹果去厨房的时候，还摸了一张。
Oh, a photo? Oh shit, so this is the guy. He's just got something similar, yeah.
怎么样？还合身吗？
Gotcha. So the acting was just making her think it's about her boyfriend, not...
Yeah.
Yeah, to get
Don't
that. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right.
医
Oh,
生说人是很难将
wait.
自己勒死的，在窒息前
Hang on
会
a
因为
sec.
缺氧而肌无力。游
right.
民在短时间内就将自己颈部的环状软骨勒至错位，谁被控制，什么时候控制，控制时长等信息都不得而知。他一旦知道陆光没事，很有可能会再来行凶，这样敌暗我明的局势对我们非常不利。
Yeah.
Yeah.
所以我向上头申请特批了这个特殊的医护病房，封
Cool.
锁消息，包括队里也没人知道我们在这儿。
Then that's very curious that...
为了提防犯人可能是熟人作案，所以必须找一个靠得住但又跟我们交集不多的人。所以我拜托斯文师傅找来了他的
Oh,
岳父。
awesome.
Yeah.
欧阳不败，肠道破裂手术，这个是你们儿子啊？
不，是
啊，你爸虽然头发都白光了，但这脸上看上去怎么比你们年轻那么多啊？平时是怎么保养的？
他呀，
And Klein stares.
但他的骨子里的确是个
Yes.
Uh-huh.
真是辛苦你们了，肖队、陈警官。其实，
Cool.
在和
So
被
there's a
操
lot
控的
more
乔
to
林的对
this
峙中，
scene that we hadn't
我也隐约
seen
从他的话里
yet.
找到了2个细节，可能和他的能力会有关联。
你的能力也和照片有关吧？之
Right.
前明明可以瞬间移动，但现在只能跑过来。
他说的是也和照片有关。
Oh,
人有时候会对
okay.
自己同样的经历脱口而出，使用“也”这个词。
Yeah.
如果是这样，那他的能力可能就和我们有一个最大的相似点。第2个
Okay.
细节就有些让我摸不着头脑。
Okay.
看来猜对了，有趣的能力，好想夺过来亲自体验。
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
他亲口说了夺过来，
Right.
那就是说，我们的能力是可以被抢走的。
there's the possibility that that's done through
你知道这
possession,
是怎么回事吗
but
Uh-huh.
我也不太清楚。
No, he's lying.
uh-huh.
还好我和陆光都没有在网上发布个人照片的习惯，特
Cool.
别是陆光，他原本就连社交账号都没有，真正的网络透明。
Yeah, that's
Whoa.
uh-huh.
Yeah, that's more
Yeah.
evidence. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
你不是能洞察照片里的内容吗？
Right.
我可以试试。
And that's where he got info.
刘明的
Yeah,
手机
yeah,
已经让
there it
技术科
is,
的
yeah.
同事破解了密码，
Yeah.
看看是不是能通过他最近的照片找到些蛛丝马迹。
Fuck.
陆光，你刚手术完，别太勉强。
And now we connect it all back here. Okay,
Yeah,
sweet.
Okay.
这不是陈警官的手机吗？
陈斌，糟了！
Boom.
肖队，我跟你一起去。
I love the panic that
Yeah,
he
uh-huh.
gets here. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just realizing,
Whoa.
like, shit, I need to
Uh-huh.
protect you guys. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because you can't do the appears safe kind of
And not
thing.
just, yeah, split the party too much. Yeah.
遵命，老婆大人。
如果是这样，
He was already being piloted at the time.
可能就和我们有一个最大的相似点，用照片发动。难道他被犯人操控了？
Yeah.
Right.
瞧你掉猴急的样子，那就换这张好了。
And that's where he regained control. Okay.
马上就能跟你爸爸见面了。
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Fuck.
that was his realization as he died. Was just
Yep,
I won't
yep,
be able
yep.
to see my child.
用手机看一下监控。
Yeah, yeah.
我们分头找。
No. Yeah.
这是陈警官坠楼了。
Well,
妈，当时也是。
Yeah.
有人从
Yeah.
顶楼天台下来了，
我去拦住他。
整栋楼只有1层2个出口，去那里堵他。
好，
wait. So is there
我
a
跟你一起去。
is there a range limit then?
乔玲，你在这里待着。小林，你干嘛突然打我？
Dare suggesting that you go off and do something stupid without me.
程小石，你一直在想方设法保护我，我很感激，但我更需要的是你的信任。
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
1层的2个出口，你和乔玲姐正好可以堵2头。
但你一个人，
你们一走，我就会把病房门反锁。
Okay. All
快
right.
去，别让这个混蛋跑了。
肖队人呢？
Damn.
Well, shit.
跟丢了，这样跟踪的效率实在太低了，看来只能。
Okay, okay, yeah, go into the man.
All right.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Just like in the ED. Okay.
Those cameras could actually be really important for, like, proving to other cops that they weren't the ones who did this,
Yeah.
because they were the only 2 people that really believed him. Unless he's trying to get to Lu Guang. Okay. I don't think you'll be able to stop him.
原来是个小闺女，吓人一跳。
把刘明的手机交出来。
Gotcha, bitch!
All right.
We know what you look like. Fuck! Whoa!
哎妈呀！肯定会被杀掉的。
Gonna jump out the window.
这傻子！秋玲。
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Let's go! Okay, okay, okay.
还挺累。
Look at this choreography. This is a scrap.
这就是斯文师傅常说的街头霸王吗？
Let's go.
Yeah.
They're both throwing hands here. Like,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Okay.
Fuck. Whoa.
When did she learn this stuff?
Shit. Boom.
Oh shit!
Yeah. That's an arm down, man.
Nice.
Yeah, he's still just an adult, so he's just tougher. Damn, you've taken a couple of those now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Go for the groin, man.
Ooh.
What?
Oh, he braced his feet against the glass. Shit.
Boom.
Oh.
终于制服他了。
Yeah, one person.
Fuck.
增援到了，看你还笑得出来。
增援已经到了。
Oh, no.
no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, this is so bad.
男的你们带走，女的。
陈教师，
Yeah, he's bleeding again. Fuck.
Fuck.
Oh, come on. Oh, and this is the...
God damn it. God damn it. Okay. Okay.
That was so fucking intense.
That was nuts. Okay.
All right, we've got ourselves a full situation. Yeah.
And yet this episode seems a lot simpler than the previous one.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
they're like, now granted, a decent portion of it was additional information that would make sense to have happened that was before Mr. Chen was possessed and then killed himself.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
So we get that now.
We have an
Awesome.
organizational antagonist.
Right.
With a time jumping possessing person.
Right.
Or at the very least, just a possessing person.
Just a possessing person, because it did seem like the timing of, well, no, because Mr. Chen's phone was in the evidence thing.
Right. That still happened. So,
yeah,
so I think it's time jumping. I think it's very similar to Cheng Jiaxi's stuff. I think it's also very much a thing where this kid could be actually being controlled in the moment, and the red eyes is obviously for us, the audience, so that we know that
they're being controlled.
But it could also be this is the eyes of the controller.
Right,
and
exactly.
It builds up that intensity for us.
Yeah, in a similar way that like the Mr. Kian guy has like the yellow eyes, and it's like, okay, does that mean something, or is that just
right? There's a bunch of things it could be, but
okay, so we had a fight that was honestly pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. Like, it was choreographed.
It was well choreographed. I liked that there was a different style to it. It added additional context again to the half in between episode where we were like, wait, what's the point of this? Well, no, our characters have got to be able to fight for stuff that comes next. So we're gonna, establish that and make sure that we understand it, so that way.
Chang'e can fight.
Yes,
he can fight really well now. That muscle memory translated over.
Right.
In a very important way.
And so can the sister, because she was the one that originally was into the martial arts and stuff. That was how they got the connection in the first place. Cool.
Yeah.
So, when you
but they're fighting an adult still.
They're fighting an adult and somebody who is on some scale a professional. So, you know, that's an issue.
Part of like a mafia personal army group or what have you that is in service to this Kian guy who is seemingly the main antagonist, in that he has been using, at the very least in partnership, or using a time-hopping kid and or person, because there's so many ways deep this could go.
Right, this could...
In order to benefit himself. And thus he then is hired by Lumen's father to then go and solve this situation here.
And I'm gonna put this out there that either he is keeping things secret from the people around him, and that's why I did this, or that he is actually not as high up on the rung ladder of antagonists as the story would make us believe.
Who?
The Mr. Kian.
Okay.
And that's why he went to the place himself to get the photo and things like that, right? Like, if you have time possession, theoretically you could do something, more like, less of a trail.
Right.
But
I think there's a reason for that, though. And I think that's the part that is a bit fucky here.
Okay.
I think that it's more that there's a possibility that we have to keep in the back of their mind that he is actually the person with the abilities, and it's a future version of him that's time hopping into the present, and he's just being there to make sure that he gets all the info.
Sure. And I mean, if it's a future version of yourself, I could see one of the most helpful things you could do is give yourself plausible deniability by making it seem like it's somebody else close to you. Right. That you just have access to or something. That way you don't accidentally give out any information. Hide things from yourself. Absolutely. But we have this whole situation where they were able to get the photo, and that's why they were specifically going there. Okay, you grab a photo. Cool.
Yeah.
And then they use that. Awesome. But with the details of what was happening before the whole, like jumping off the building and all that stuff.
Yep.
That the information was gathered, that Lu Guang can gather information from photos. Yeah. And that's crucial.
And that was to Chen, therefore the antagonist has that.
And almost like the last thing that happened before, everything other than they're about to go look at the phone. But like I could absolutely see that being the instigating factor essentially. And then it's we got information about what one of them can do. We need to make sure that this guy gets taken out, but also
cool. We're about to do our attack. Let's have him leave. That'll then give us an opportunity to get Captain
split
Zhao,
them up and
then we'll get him, and then we'll go in and get Lu Guang, and we'll end this all tonight.
Right.
Perfect. This is competent antagonists in a way that is terrifying. There are very few things that are the window of escape for our protagonist is swiftly narrowing, and that's left soon will be going back in time. Like that's
and yet. Yeah, this is another thing, a reason why I think that these aren't the actual like antagonists. Nowhere in here is you're breaking the rules. This person is like, if this is say Mr. Kian, right? He's so well organized. He is so methodical and like very practical with the things that he's doing. We need a photo. He himself goes to the place to get the photo, right?
Right.
Oh, you almost messed up the situation with a, loud burp. I will cut your throat the next time that happens, right? This is not the guy who plays games.
No.
Right.
No.
So,
but that's why I'm saying the kid could be the one.
That's a great point, and that's probably the more direct.
And they probably, if they are a kid, that's probably the area where I feel like that's why we were talking to a kid then. And I don't think that they're necessarily... That's why I'm trying to hold both theories in tandem here, is that I think that the personality of the person that inhabited the sister felt like a kid. Like, it felt younger. Like a, I'm going to do one-liners, and I'm going to kind of have this extra bit of like, ha, ha, ha.
Right. It's the level of... unprofessionalism that would make it so that you would actually have a fighting chance. And one of the things that they could get into that would be very fun is the power dynamic between the person with all the social and economic power, right, in Mr. Kian, and then but I have to get this kid to do the thing that I cannot do,
right,
and also if he wanted to fuck with me, he absolutely could, and I wouldn't be able to stop him, right?
Right.
Like,
so I limit basically what he's able to do by
sure,
only introducing certain things, and it's the like,
or making sure that I get him what he wants in very specific ways, so that he'll constantly feel dependent on me or something like that. Like there's all kinds of ways.
And if he's an actual kid, there's ways
about.
You could have brainwashed and or manipulated the kid mentally. So
yeah,
there's all kinds of things you could do there. That's fun also from another standpoint, because then you could theoretically need to rescue the kid. That could be a whole other thing there. But right now, we have two things at work here.
Okay.
We have the kid going to Lu Guang.
Right.
Knowing exactly where he is because they were in Officer Chen, so they now know how to get to him. But they didn't show up on any of the cameras and stuff in that regard.
Oh.
So we have another kind of setup of where they might have some a way in which they're interacting through like something more supernatural or ridiculous there. So that's
the one thing that is worth pointing out, though, and I love that they brought this up. Yes, we'll get this as an app on our phones. Oh shit, the phone screen is still really small. You're not sitting in a security room with you know 36 monitors all showing the different feeds, and so you can just sort of scan them all at the same time. They had to actually slide through them. They're like, fuck, this is so inefficient. So there's the possibility that that's just it's just a you weren't looking at all of the feeds at the same time.
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But
I would think for an app like that, though, you would be like the show me all places of activity, and then it just goes boop, 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 boop.
Sure. And there was the point where Lu Guang went to the because he did the whole thing of getting the information directly, and he had the thug guy, and then he had the two of them, but the kid wasn't there. Yeah.
So I am excited about that. But then we also had Chen Jiaoxi and the girl end up seeing in the background
two other people
hooded that looks shorter. That could be the kid, but then also someone standing directly behind the dividers there.
Yeah, so we can't see any details about like their head, just they're taller. Yeah.
Right.
And maybe wearing a suit, given the definition of their shoulders.
Yeah, so that could be Kian, but just the idea that they're being so brazen as to then show themselves directly to Chen Jiaoxi and her. There's a world where you're right. This is not as complicated as the time-related stuff, outside of the fact that Kian brought the photo directly
to the kid.
Right.
So he's aware that somebody's got powers, and it's we can't let anybody else have power, so this is a problem. And if they found out that Lu Guang has the ability to get info from photos, and the kid is going there directly, maybe even on his own, this is going to be my own thing. Like, I'm not letting them know that this is a thing. They also brought up the idea of the powers being able to be taken away. I would not be surprised if that's what either is at the very least attempted, if not actively happens here. And then they come back and, sorry, Lu Guang, maybe he's alive, but nope, doesn't have powers anymore or something. Because that's like having both of those powers at the same time, like assuming that it's more or less the same thing as what Chen Jiaoxi has, that would be a bit busted.
That'd be a bit busted. Now, I'm just trying to think, is there any way that they can win in the present?
Well,
what's the way that they can do it?
So
Lu Guang interacting with the kid and kind of solving things that way?
I mean, at any point in this story, there's always the option of the time onion getting peeled back an additional layer, and then
that's what I'm saying, in
kind
the
of thing happening
in the present.
No, right, like influence from another time into the present.
I get that. I'm talking in the present. Is there any way that they can get out of this?
So the kid, I think, is definitely one angle for potential leverages and stuff, because we don't know.
We don't know why he's here other than to get to Lu Guang and get his ability.
Right, like given that there's multiple antagonistic forces and they seem to, at the very least, be from very different worlds and things like that, right? Motivations have to be established for both, right? Mr. Kian's are a lot more straightforward, but we don't really technically know the kids yet. And then the cops showing up is always a possibility. Even though it was like 15 minutes and it's like, okay, they had a fight. It wasn't that long.
They're fucked. From the fight perspective, there's no reason why they should get out of this unscathed and or alive if their intentions. These people will have their way with Cheng Jiaoxi and the sister. So
right, like the fact that the fact that they got here like this and in such force, especially if the person there is Mr. Qian, he would not show up himself unless he believed that he had full control of the situation. So either he's able to bribe the cops or he knows that, like, no, I've got a full 10 minutes before the cops get here.
Yeah.
They will never know that I was here.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Or I will resolve this so ultimately that, it doesn't matter if the people I'm up against see my face at the very end because they're about to die. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The whole fact that they have cameras set up here, I feel like that's the way that they could end up getting the police as a whole maybe more on their side. Like if they survive this and escape this, it's okay, there were people in here that were doing a bunch of crazy stuff,
Yeah.
But
crazy idea.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy idea. Bin Chen has already been in the future jumped into at other points by Cheng Jiaoxi. 100%, right? Because there's instances where he's doing things that we see that make him feel weird, right? Like it's the part where his wife goes, he said he was changing fate with faith. Like the little things where it's clearly at some point the boys are going to have to come in a way to save Bin Chen. So they go into him in the past.
I mean,
and there's things here that I just wanted to bring up in that regard because the focus on the space that that his wife is in the apartment here. I want to throw out the idea of something that would be like a theme thing, but it's just a bit kooky theory land here. But basically that he's getting all these teddy bears and stuff, these things that he's been getting for a while, like ahead of time.
Right, and that maybe some of those have like nanny cams.
Exactly what I was thinking, nanny cams.
Yeah, and it's I could totally see that being the case.
It's information gathering for the ways in which they can then catch something and then look at all the stuff in the future.
Mm-hmm. And I see the signs of the things that you're talking about of the changing fate with faith, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's at that point, I think it's the question of whether the show's just being cheeky by because since you have time muckery and stuff, you can throw little things out there to make us be like, wait, is there time muckery happening here? And it totally doesn't have to be. It's just coincidence. It's whatever, right?
No, but
it'll get us thinking, and it can be those sort of like pseudo red herrings, I guess.
Right. But it's the kind of things where, given that they're in a situation right now where it's so bad that at some point they'll probably have to go back into the past to, try and solve it and stuff.
Oh yeah, this might even be the forcing function for Cheng Jiaoxi being like, nope, I nope out of here.
Yeah, I think the one that's the obvious character to hop into is Bin Chen, and we have already like multiple reasons.
The only easy access photo they have is from 2 years ago.
Well, yes, absolutely. So they need to use his phone, which they now have.
Right. No,
to
that's
then
true.
go and specifically look into a photo that's more recent,
Sure.
Like, obviously, his best photo that he has on the phone's lock screen there.
Yeah, like they don't know his key to open the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah, retinal,
Right, but there was the whole thing of, was he acting weird at all?
Right, like before it happened, yeah.
Right, and the stuff that Cheng Jiaoxi thought of,
yeah, there was no, there were things that stood out to him, but not things that would seem like they would necessarily have like a rhyme or a reason to them that would point to, he's being inhabited by a serial killer.
Well, no, but there are things that could be pointing at that he's being inhabited by Cheng Jiaoxi. I also bought you a new outfit. One, he has to then know Cheng Jiaoxi's size right there. Two, he has to then have a reason to do this.
That's a good point.
Is almost like a bit too sensitive and kind for a police officer to just get an outfit for you too. You need to have something better for when you meet, Lu Guang.
Right. Now, I understand it from the standpoint of you thought your friend died. I'm not going to have you be in the clothes that still have his blood,
Right. But then another thing, the pin code made me think about this. Hey, Cheng Jiaxi, can you help me with this? He doesn't know necessarily his own, code necessarily or something like that.
I thought that it was
But it's also maybe even a code for, can you help me with this situation?
I mean, maybe. I figured that was just I'm a police officer, I'm going to keep both my hands on the wheel. So hey, here's the thing. Can you hold it up for me as I talk?
Oh, no, that's the obvious thing. I'm not saying that because that's, of course, what it is on the surface.
Right,
Looking at the layer deep, which is, okay, does he seem like the kind of person who would say, yes, my lady, when...
Right, yeah, exactly.
When talking to his wife and stuff.
Well, and that's another thing that's odd, though, is that and again, this is going on the assumption of using Cheng Jiaxi's ability as the baseline, but while Lu Guang would give him the info that he gleans through the photos and stuff, Cheng Jiaxi doesn't need every little detail about how the person behaves, because once he inhabits the body, he's able to just kind of know. Similar thing.
Because he's actually experiencing their thoughts, feelings, emotions, and all that.
And we know that it's a similar thing with the attacker, because when they inhabited the sister...
Right, they were like, I can know...
The sister knows that you're
lying. Right.
So I know, right?
Yeah.
Which was just sorts of terrifying and awesome, right? But so that anything as far as the personal tics... You can't look at it there from the standpoint of it being like a subconscious thing, given out by the killer, because they'd probably just be like the body's sort of on autopilot, it does its thing or whatever, until I need to do something pointed,
I guess, that's
right?
True.
And then maybe they do it or whatever. But yeah,
fuck, it's this is twisty, this is scary.
I feel like these kinds of shows also are in a way, the worst kinds of shows for us to discuss, because we can sometimes discuss too much because we don't know when to stop. And with a show like this, you literally don't know when to stop. You don't know if something is just normal or if there's layers of time muckery going on there.
If it's some causal, mess of gobbledygook. Yeah.
Eight layers of indirection deep, whatever, of, all sorts of things happening.
Which is in some ways why we every once in a while need to stop.
Be like, okay.
Follow back to the rules of time travel that they have given us thus far.
See, that's why Lu Guang has the rules. It's not because something terrible will happen. He's like, no, then it just gets too messy. You can't work with it.
No, it's because everyone watching the show will then, be confused as to what's going on. And what show? What are you talking about, Lu Guang? Sorry, whose memories are these?
No, there was definitely that part of me where when they did the so he's being possessed. It's like, right, because the characters would definitely need to state that for themselves and everything, but then also just in case there was the audience member that's like, wait, something very weird just happened. What's going on? It's the, okay, right, yes,
right.
That's, yeah, they did establish that at the end of season 1. That was previous season. Okay, right.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. And also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.